Alright, now we're on our last part for the Prismacolors on the toned paper, and let's get started with our little ribbons and the little dress here. So I think these are just going to be green polka dot ones, but anyways, let's just get started. So for my greens, I'm going to be using the similar greens for the eyes here, but instead of I'm instead just going to be using 3 colors, or maybe like 4. So let's just get started. So I have my cream color, and then I have my yellow chartreuse, whatever that's called, and then we have my spring green, and then for darkness I have my olive green, and maybe just in case, give a little bit of parrot green, just for a little bit of nice cool colors. So let's get started. So I like to start off with drawing some polka dots with my cream color. So just add some polka dots on top. Now, of course, if you're not doing this drawing, then I don't know why I'm explaining why I should be telling you guys what to do. But I'll be putting polka dots on her. And if you want to do polka dots on your character, feel free to do so. Actually, I'm not going to add any here, so I should not have done that. Oh well. So when it comes to polka dots, kind of just putting them at random, adding some half circles here and there. 1, 2, maybe it's a half here, because it's still a 3D object. And I think that will be good enough for now. Then we are going to add our spring green, and then we're just going to color. Actually, no, we're going to be using our. Where's our lemon yellow? There. We're going to be using our lemon yellow, sorry, to basically color over as a base. So just color it very lightly. You don't have to press too hard for this. This is just to make the other colors pop. So that's what base layers are for, once again. So now once we have that, then we're going to take our spring green and we are going to color on top. So this sort of does 2 things. It blends, and 2, it makes it more opaque. So I can blend this kind of like yellowish tone more. You can see that pops out really, really nicely. Looks super cute. And I'm just going to be coloring over and over. So we have our main color now. Then what we can do, whoops, let me just go ahead and organize my pencils here. One's going on top of the other. Then let's get this is my olive green here. This is my lime peel. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of darkness, kind of just hinting at where the darkness is going to be, such as areas like the inner part of the ribbon, a little bit of the folds. I'm just indicating where it's going to be, so it's kind of like a planning color. So once that's done, then I'm going to add my olive green. Whoops. And then I'm going to take the inner parts of the ribbon and shade that in, because there's no light coming through there. This is more of a frontal lighting scenario. So just assume that everything is kind of just more like a very standard lighting. So areas like, where the hair is and where the skin is, it's not like a direct lighting feel. It's more of like a very, it's just a very frontal lighting. So the highlights will be in front rather than on the side. The shadows would just be in a regular place underneath the hair, and so on and so forth. So you don't have to worry about it too much. And I like doing this kind of lighting as well, just because it's, it's kind of common to use this lighting unless you really want to go all out. But anyways, I am also kind of coloring in the edges here, just to give a little bit of a turning edge. So that will give a little bit more depth into the ribbon. And that'll be pretty much it for the ribbon. So it looks super cute. If you want to make the polka dots pop out even more, take out your white gel pen. And then just color over on top. So the good thing about the white gel pen is that it reads really well against toned paper. For some reason, it's not working right now. There it is. So just add a little bit of each. You know, you don't have to go too high, too far into it. You don't have to fill everything in. Just kind of make sure that it's on the color or on the white, so that it just kind of pops out in front of the page. All right, so now we have our little ribbon, and now let's get started on the little dress. Let me zoom. I think I should zoom out a little bit. Pardon the clashing of pencils here. Unfortunately, I don't have a good pencil holder for these. Anyways, now I'm going to go take this Crayola white again. I'm just going to be coloring in this. So as you can see, as much as I'm pressing really hard on this, however, the pigment is not showing as well as the Prismacolors. So Crayolas are good for sketchbook paper or just regular paper in general because it has a smoother texture. But when it comes to tone paper, use Prismacolors. So I'm just using this as a base once again. And then I'm going to be taking a nice light blue. This is my cloud blue here. And I'm going to be using this in the place of white because this is a pretty cool white here. So this is good for, like, you know, clothing that is more cooler in tone for the white. So rather than like a warm white, for example, this is a cool white, so that's more of a bluish white. So I use this in place of a white sometimes when it comes to toned papers because it shows off as white pretty much. So as you can see, you know, same result, just a little bit, it's just cloud blue, but just looks white in comparison. So I'm going to also take my green here and just give her a little apron here, just because why not? And I'm also going to add a olive green around the border here, just to show that, you know, this is a separation. There. So, super cute looking. Now let's give her some folds. So I would use a Imperial Violet for the shadows of the shirt or the cloth here, just because since this is a cool white, we would go with a cool shadow for the folds. And I'm coloring this very, very lightly so that it doesn't, you know, it's not, so it doesn't become too, you know, it doesn't stand out too much. I want to make sure that it's light enough that it just looks like a shadow instead of a pure Imperial Violet color. So color very, very lightly on this. There. And that's pretty much it. She's super cute. I don't know what I would name her, but anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.